Coffee is not the only thing brewing on this bus. Grounds of Grace is on a faith-based mission to empower local kids here on the First Coast to rise up out of poverty and become leaders. And in a few months, it will open its first brick-and-mortar coffee shop. Tajon Collins, a student at Rains High, is making more than just a cup of coffee.
Stop that and get your cup.
He's serving up hope and love.
It actually is changing a few lives. It changed mine. I would be on the wrong path doing some very bad things if I wasn't here today.
He is pouring his time into his first job, working at Grounds of Grace and learning important life skills along the way.
So we always say it's one cup, one child. When you buy a cup of coffee through this operation, that it goes right back into the community.
Ron Armstrong is the founder and executive director of Grounds of Grace, a ministry that supports the nonprofit sponsored by Grace. The mobile coffee shop launched in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic to help kids like Tajon and his brother.
We found an old school bus on the side of the road in Mayport, and we had the idea of, with our sponsorship program, our kids were just not able to get jobs over in some of our communities. So we bought the old school bus, made some conversations. We had the idea of turning it into a coffee shop to employ our kids.
For Tajon, working on this coffee bus has had a big impact on his life.
Without Mr. Ron and them and the bus, I'd say most of the kids out there in the community would actually be trying to influence gang violence and trying to become a gang member and do gang violence things. Watch for it to get 160. With the bus and sponsored by Grace, is actually changed. Kids don't even think about firearms or harming other people's kids. They actually think about staying together, keeping each other safe.
And Grounds of Grace is expanding.
We actually are the first coffee shop of the revitalization of Arlington going in.
It's slated to open its first brick-and-mortar coffee shop this spring here on University Boulevard North.
And then on the end, we have a great partner that we're partnering with, a bakery that's coming in and going to do the same thing with kids in our community and our teen center, where they'll teach them life skills and they're going to learn the bakery trade rather than the coffee trade.
The mission, he says, is to invest in youth through each cup of coffee sold to help change the trajectory of their life.
The biggest thing that we see ourselves doing is we're planting a church. We want to be a community hub for people coming in, not just to get a cup of coffee, but to get loved on, to get something different in this community, because once again, we're in a poverty area, high crime rate, and kids don't have opportunities.
For Tajon, his cup is full of hope.
It's taking you down the right path instead of the wrong.
And you can request the Grounds of Grace bus at your next event. Just look for a link in this story on firstcoastnews.com, and you can also follow them on social media. Heather Crawford, First Coast News, on your side.